Hello and welcome. What I want to talk about today, what's coming through for me today, it touches on both us, our individual selves and also the collective. I'm just feeling a lot of what's coming in is how do we move forward? How do we heal ourselves, and how do we come together as a people, as a world, as individuals? And what's coming through for me is to share with everyone that what's coming in is like, okay, we are multidimensional beings. We come into these bodies, these biological bodies, and every time we do that as spirits, as souls, we take on lineages. We take on ancestral ties. So not only we have past lives, and each of those past lives has an ancestral lineage. And so when we come into a life, say the life that you are in now, you are coming in with this ancestral lineage from pieces from past lives and also from your current life and your ancestors. And though there are things in those lives that those people, those lives that you've experienced, but also the lives of your ancestry, your relations, we have cell memory. And so there's trauma and there's lessons, there's past aspects that haven't been fully realized or crystallized to come to light, to be released. So they're repressed and they're encapsulated within DNA and cell memory. So that what happens is when on a personal level, you may be experiencing something that it feels really deep, or it may be connected to blocks that you're aware of, or subconsciously, things that are holding you back, things that create fears or create certain beliefs that you can't necessarily tie to anything you have learned or you have processed, things that from your current lifetime that you're not seeing connections there. And so if something like that comes up, it is something that is from your past or your ancestry that has come through. So parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, back through your generational ties, things that have come through that are things that you're usually, they are so pivotal or so strong that they continue on and they live in that cell memory rather than being cleansed by the light when you pass through this veil into other realms. And when you return in that particular, you bring things with you as a soul, and then you're also going into, like I said, your body that you're in now, and all of those ancestral ties that are within your cells. So this affects us on an individual level, things that can be cleared out and that need to be cleared out before you can move forward, or move forward as you were meant to be. So it's almost like, it's like your truest self and expression of your being is hindered by these aspects. So it's not that you can't have a great life, but you are held back by them. And what it also does on a collective level, so that's individual. On a collective level, when something happens in history, in time, I'll say, in this story, in this record, because everything is stored, everything in the Akashic records, in the field, it's all recorded there. When something happens that is on a large scale and affects many, many, many souls, many, many, many people, like it could be a whole group of a section of a nation. It could be a whole family, many families related. It could be the whole world at that time, or several nations. It could be, so when these things happen, and they could be the intensity of the trauma is so at a level, and it creates imprints on the record, on the Akashic, and on it flows through, because we are fractals. It flows through and it makes its way into cell memory. And so what happens is, through time, because our consciousness is evolving as humanity, as a species, now is a time when these things can really begin to come to light and be healed. Because for generations and generations, our consciousness, 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 200 years ago, what they were at, our consciousness on a collective level was at a lower vibration. It was not where we are now, and not where we are going to be headed. And so you can see this clearly if you look back in history and different things that have happened. You say to yourself, how could that happen then? How could people be okay with that then? Or, and so we're constantly evolving. So that the reasons that we have, part of the reasons why we have an inability to heal on some, like a level, and I'm going to use the United States, where the country where I reside, where we are here, and where we are in our evolution as a country. We are a young country, but we are evolving as a human species at the same time. And there's so many traumas that have happened in our country with different groups of people. And they've created these imprints, not only in our environment that are still there, but also in the cell memory of us humans that are living right now. We're carrying these traumas within us. And so I keep getting the message to share this, and it's like, it's hard to get it out because this is a very delicate subject. And so, for example, like in our country, we have this issue of racism. And it most certainly is, it's felt today from past traumas. And what I want to voice, and this internal knowing of why some people don't seem to understand that, what is the difference? We're trying to, give an equal playing ground right now for everyone. And why does racism persist? And part of the reason, besides ideologies that continue within families and, things that are difficult to break down, as ignorance is transformed into wisdom and knowledge and all of that, there's also these imprints and cellular memory of trauma. And so there are feelings of pain and trauma on one side, and then there are feelings of guilt and past guilt for ancestry that behaved in a way that is contradictory to as far as like being the aggressor, right? So there's like this guilt associated with being aggressor, and then on the other side there's all this trauma. And so it's like we have to awaken to the fact that this is very temporary, our bodies that we are in right now. And that if we can remember as a humanity that we have been and experienced other lives as different genders, as different ethnicities from different parts of the world, and studied different ideologies and experienced different traumas. And the more we come together as a galactic family, as a soul family, I feel that this knowledge will help us in our everyday relations and with others, and being able to see others as you, to see others as in it's a mirror of yourself, because we are all sparks of the divine, experiencing life from a different viewpoint, a different access point, our own perspectives, but it's for our experience and for the experience of the all that is. And so it's almost like you are the only being in the universe. And everything else around you is created for you and for your learning to experience love and to experience getting back to love and getting back to your divine origins. And so everyone else, that is the same for everyone else as well. So it seems like a contradiction, but it's wrapped within itself the truth of that statement, that you are everyone and everyone is you, and experiencing different aspects, different things, and it's about coming to compassion. And again, it comes back to a fear, from a fear base, and not only, it's like not only your own views, it's past life views, past ancestral views, pains and traumas that are caught and stuck and are in this memory of our own DNA of why it's so hard to move forward, why our country is still where it is today, and how it's an aspect of how different groups of people, Black, white, Hispanic, from every aspect, Muslim, but like from all this particular, if you're Native American, all of those, like those past traumas that have happened in our country on the soil with blood that's been spilt and spirits crushed, and there's so much trauma there. And people don't realize, if you don't realize that the fire of your convictions, your hatred maybe for someone else, or you're feeling left behind, or you're feeling maybe superior to someone else, those things are remnants of past ancestral imprints. And so when those aspects can come to light, and be healed, be transformed, just by being conscious, when you bring consciousness to it, when you bring your consciousness to it, and you open up your heart, and you can open up that bit of compassion, and that can grow within you, and it touches other lives. And because when I speak of past and future life, of where we're headed, it's all happening right now. So when you heal right now, if you open up and you heal yourself, and you consciously go in and forgive and heal and bring light into those cells that hold those traumas from past ancestral trauma, you heal not only in this lifetime, you're healing past those past lives, those past ancestral imprints on parallel universes, parallel earths. You've gone backward and forward in healing those things. So it's not constricted by our limitations. Like it's very hard, can be hard to wrap your mind around the fact, because when you look at the day, and of course time goes by, and what do you mean like it doesn't exist? But it's not, it's a construct that energy and love and compassion and our consciousness isn't limited to time and distance and space. And so all of that can be healed. And so we're being asked to heal ourselves. And when you do that, you're opened up. It's like a lock that's opened, and it allows all those in your life, you touch them in a different way. Your energy shifts, and it creates this huge ripple effect, because you put that little tiny pebble in a huge lake, and those ripples go out. And the more tiny pebbles that you open up your consciousness, and those ripples go out and out, until until it reaches a point where the love and the compassion and, is overflowing to the point where, things can be healed and move forward. Because where we're headed is a place where, our consciousness, there's so much light coming on the planet right now, and our very DNA is being upgraded, and the more people are awakened, and when you feel this inside of you, and if you hear this message and it resonates with you, that's the sign. You listen to your own self, your discernment, and you take action then. So you can take action with yourself and your own healing, and just knowing these things and bringing it forward, you can now go forward and bringing that to others in your life. And it creates this ripple effect. And so that's why I felt the need myself to share this wisdom that I've had inside of me that's been bubbling to come out. And you have to do the same, so that wisdom that's inside of you, that I can be unlocking that key inside of you, and that you will be inspired to share, learn, and be compassionate to yourself. And then you can be compassionate to others. And like I said, we are in this together, and we have a choice to make, and we can only control what we are doing in our self. Everyone has free will, and so there are choices, but that's from your perspective where you are. So that's where you need to change. So when you look out, if you see something that is not the way the world that you want it to be, then you need to go to your center. Again, always go back to your center. And what is the world that you want to live in? And what changes can you do within yourself and your community and your inner circle to make that change, to help make that change in the world? And that's how we are going to get through these tumultuous times that we are in, because we do have free will, and there are those that are going to choose not to see, not to raise their consciousness, not to, that they're stuck in the level that they are in. And you can't change anyone else's mind in the sense, or heart. You can't make them change their mind or heart. You can just spread your love and by expressing your innate gifts, your creativities, bringing your aspects out into the world, and affecting other people. Whoever is open to your messages and your love and your creative gifts, they're going to receive them, and then they're going to go on and spread it out into the world. So that's what you can do. And, I'm getting very itchy nose. I'm like, things are coming in really quickly. So you have to remember to breathe. Breathe through those moments when you are seeing things that are completely not in alignment. You see maybe when you see or feel someone else's anger, their misguided intentions, their something that is not in alignment with you, what if rather than letting yourself get thrown off your track, you can have compassion. just have compassion for those that are not yet awakened to the fact of their pure love and light that they are made of, that they are not aware of that. And have compassion for those that are not, they're just not there yet. And you can be the light so that they can maybe see the light, but they may choose not to see the light. And then you just have to move away from that and don't let that interfere with what you have to do and what you're here to do. So that's, I hope this made sense to you. And I hope, so let me know in the question, if you have questions or comments, and I'm happy to expand on any of these concepts. I know I brought up some different, things in this video. And, you know, some of the information, if it's confusing, I'm happy to clarify it. Because, you know, I'd like to get into maybe in another separate video, about the nature of our soul and how we are multidimensional beings, and what kind of deep dive into what that actually means, and how we can begin to break that down and understand it with our human brain, and what that can do to open up and expand your consciousness even more, and understand who you really are on a grander scale. Because the more you really embody and understand how freaking powerful you are as a being, the more your life will magically unfold right in front of you, and you can really step into it, and it changes everything. It just changes everything about how you move through the world, and how you're seen, and how you perceive, and how much more love and compassion you're able to embody and take in. And when you are on your mission, and you are going forward with love and nothing but positivity and joy in being of service, that is your truest self coming through when we can live that. So again, thank you for watching. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I really appreciate you listening. And again, please subscribe to the channel. I am like growing this. We're growing this together, and I am so happy to be doing it. And share it with your friends, like it, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.